Well, Jimbo, we are live in the big group and the guild. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm getting used to this camera, this new camera and this angle, so it's a little different. I can't quite see your face to be honest with you, but we'll be okay. So,
It makes you look a little taller because it's a little bit lower to the ground. So
oh,
it looks,
good.
it's,
Well, good. I need that. So, that's weird. Like I don't know where to look because it's like right in front of me. So where do I put
yeah.
my hands? So, yeah, we're gonna talk about the conference today.
Yeah. And I thought before we get into the nuts and bolts of the conference itself, I mean, I thought it might be worthwhile you and I spending just a minute or two talking about, why in the hell do we do this? Why do we think the world even needs another conference? I mean, we know that lawyers, we know there's some lawyers who spend all of their time going from conference to conference. We know that there's all those ABA types who spend a lot of time just giving each other awards. But you want to talk a little bit for people who haven't been to MaxLawCon? I mean, this will be our fourth one.
Yeah, I think so. I think it really just comes out of community, to be honest with you. It's getting together. It's. I mean, that's why we started in the beginning is just to get people together because we had been interacting in the Facebook group and getting to know people and seeing their pictures, right? Seeing their pictures and seeing them messaging with them, texting with them. But it's really you don't get to see each other all year, and so it's a really good opportunity for people that are not in the guild. When it comes to the guild, we've got other opportunities for people to see each other and kind of meet with each other. But it's really cool. Like everyone like has been to the conference. They usually talk about like the feel of it. It's just a different feel. It's not your typical conference, and that's why we do it. It's just to get people together, and obviously that you learn a lot, hopefully. But the biggest draw is just getting together with people and getting to see people that you see online all the time, but not in person.
Well, I think too that, as with all good marketing, I always like to think about what we're not. And, I'm always sort of militant about, I'm not applying for the damn CLE. We can get CLE, but I'm not having anything to do with it. I think that this is not a CLE type conference. This is a conference for law firm owners. I think the reason a lot of our sponsors like to sponsor our event is because they know that there's decision makers there. And when you get a bunch of decision makers in a room with a growth mindset, I think you just can't lose. I mean, there was such great energy in the casino last year for the 2 days that we had the conference. I mean, it's also a great uh, conference because the people that speak, then they go and sit down and start taking notes. Like it's not like anyone saying, I've got it all figured out. I know all the answers. I mean, some of my favorite times in the conference were going over to the other conference room and hearing from people who were presenting sort of for the first time, just because, if your mind is open and you're listening, you can find stuff that will pay for the conference and pay for the time away from your office. Because really, it's the time away from your office more than the cost. But you're going to get ideas that really just help you jump forward by months or years.
I think it's really cool seeing like the people like you see them where they started and where they are now. It's really cool to see like you're kind of talking like you see them on the stage. It's really interesting to see that growth where they go from someone that was in some cases on the verge of losing it all, right, and closing up the firm and um, going and working for somebody or leaving the law altogether. And it's interesting to see how okay now that person's on stage and they're killing it, right? And it's really just interesting. I love seeing that trajectory, that growth for people. That is really exciting to see.
Yeah, and if you think about, speaking of growth, if you think about how the conference started at St. Louis University's law school in one room, now we have, breakout sessions, and, we're going to talk about some of that stuff today. And this isn't just a promo for the conference. It's more just about, laying out there what we're offering, talking about why we're doing it, talking about why we're excited about it, and why, I mean, you and I both have pretty successful law practices. We could spend our time doing a lot of different things. We put a lot of time and energy into this because we want to tap into that spirit and we want to motivate people. And then frankly, for me, what I like is just showing people what's possible. And so, we have a lot of people up on stage who are talking about something cool that they've done that if you're sitting there with the right mindset, you can say to yourself, not, oh, I tried that and it won't work, or no, that'll never work for me, but rather, how can I take what this person is saying and use it in my practice to maybe do something better?
It was so cool last year watching Mike Albee his presentation, and he was just spitting out gems for people. Like there was so much value in that. It was really, really cool to see that. And it's just so much fun. Yeah, it's I was thinking about that earlier about how it all really just started in a classroom at SLU. And it's so different now. Like before it was we all not everybody, half the people that were at the conference went to the baseball game. So we all went to a baseball game. We were in a suite together, and now there's no way in hell we could fit all the people into a baseball game. But we should at some point see if we can like rent like 4 or 5 or 6 different suites and like put people in them. That'd be pretty cool.
I'd love that.
Oh, that'd be so freaking awesome. So, uh, do we want to announce who like our keynote speaker is yet, or do we want to hold on to that?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm going to grab his book for when you do it. Why don't you go ahead and announce who the keynote speaker is, and I'll hold up the book.
Yeah, so we talk about this guy all the time, right? And he's an incredible speaker. I've seen him speak. He is an incredible doctor. He worked for the St. Louis Cardinals during their World Series run. Dr. Jason Selk is going to be our keynote speaker. He wrote the book Relentless Solution Focus, which Jim is holding up now. He promised me. He said, "This will be the best presentation we have ever had," is what he guaranteed to me. So, and I will hold him to that. He doesn't make promises like that. So, I'm really looking forward to it. It's actually something. He said it's a brand new presentation that he is testing out. That I mean, this guy is a professional speaker, so it's gonna be badass. I am very, very excited about it.
Yeah, we believe so much in the book that we gave it away to all the guild members at the time, and I think that to a person, they all love the book. They all shared the passages in there. I've read it once. I probably need to read it again before he speaks. And I just wanted to make one correction. He was working with them on their World Series runs, not just runs. So,
Yeah, sorry. So
yeah, no. That's more a compliment to the Cardinals. But yeah, he really has a good system for getting yourself out of a funk and sort of turning problems on their head. And so I think that, again, not that I feel like I have to justify the conference, but that in and of itself will blow people's minds and get them totally squared away. I mean, my goal with this conference, as always, is that if anyone comes in with any doubts, any misconceptions, any frustrations, that we take that down, we break it down to its root level, and then we build it back up so that they walk out of there ready to light the world on fire.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what we want. Like we want you to be able to leave the conference and just start killing it, like crushing it from the moment you leave. So, I
And
mean,
that's
there have
really
been
what we
plenty.
saw. That's really what we saw after this last conference. I mean, especially the people in the guild who'd been to the mastermind, but even just attendees in general. I think that a lot of people just were like, "Holy crap! There's a lot that I can be doing, and time is of the essence."
Yeah, and I love seeing the people they go to the conference for the first time. It's really cool. It's just a cool little thing. So I think people like it. Looks like people are excited about Selk. So that's pretty awesome. I'm glad that people are excited about that. That was it was obviously something we had to work out. So it was not an easy get. So I'm glad people are excited about it. So can we go ahead and start with the workshop idea? Can we go ahead and can we start with that? Because I
Yeah,
really want to get
you better do that, because while I'm excited about it, I don't know that it's fully formed, and I don't know that I could do it justice. So why don't you tell everyone what we're going to try and what you're thinking?
All right, so we're floating this idea, to be completely honest with you. We're floating this idea right now because we're not 100% sure we're going to do it, but we're thinking about on day 2, near the end of the day, actually having a workshop, right? So, it'd be a couple different workshops, so you'd be able to choose what it would be. And I'm just going to throw out a couple ideas, right? So, we've had a lot of ideas, but these are a couple. So maybe one of them might be an AdWords workshop where we walk you through bit by bit how to set up the AdWords account properly, but then also how to build an actual proper AdWords campaign. So that's one idea. In that, you'd actually have your laptops open and you'd be working in real time. So you do this, then you do this, then you do this, kind of a thing. Another one might be let's build out your intake scripts. So we go bit by bit by bit. Here's how you do your intake. Here's how you answer the phone. Let's actually write this script out and make sure that it looks good, right? And maybe you can look to the person next to you, say, hey, what do you think about this idea? And look to the other person, hey, what do you think about this idea? And then talk to the presenter, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Is this the right way, or should I change it up a little bit? So that's the general idea. So we want to float that idea by people to see if it's something that they would be interested in. If not, we'll just replace it with a presentation. But that's the idea right now, is the possibility of doing a workshop. Those are a little more time intensive. So we've got to, this is why we're floating the idea, because we've got to figure out the final part of the schedule. We've got the majority of it, I'd say 90% of it done, but that's the last little piece that we're trying to figure out. So so now that I've clarified a little bit, Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think, we're always trying to improve, and obviously we've had the Zapathon, which was, purely 2 days hands-on, and I think that went over well. So anything we can do to improve the conference, improve the experience, and there's some topics like like intake and AdWords and those kinds of things that just come up so often in the big group and in the guild, that setting aside some time when we're all together to try to help people sort of see nuts and bolts what's possible, I think that's really important.
Yeah, because I mean that's a lot of times what people ask is, well, how do I do, like actually no, how do I do this? Like what do I do to do this thing, whatever that thing may be. So and that's why we kind of tossed that workshop idea out to see what people think. So it's gonna be we'll get people's thought. Post something in the comments if you've got a thought about it. I'm really curious to see what you have to say. Do we want to go through the speakers and talk about a little bit about what they're going to talk about? Tease the topics a little bit.
Let's do it.
All right. So Jim Hacking, you're going to lead us off, and you're going to talk about why are you waiting? And so that's kind of cool. Let's not go through like any details as to what it's going to be about, unless you want to tease a little bit about it.
Well, the only thing I was going to say is that last year Becca was getting a little bit frustrated with certain presenters who were, getting their slides to her at the last minute. And to that end, I'm already about halfway through my slides for this presentation. Oh, me too. I was definitely one of the worst offenders. So, you and I are presenting a couple different times during the conference, and I will be presenting on a topic that is really important to me, and that is sort of like getting the most out of your life and not looking forward to some future payoff, but rather really building the life that you want right now.
Yeah, I like it. That's really good. It's funny. I've not finalized my topic, so I'm still working on mine. I've got a few different ideas that I want to do, and it takes me a little bit longer. Like, it's funny. You knew what you wanted to speak about like almost instantly after the conference, which I find really interesting. It comes very easily to you, and it takes me a little bit of time to develop mine. So I've got a little bit of time. So mine will be. I'm speaking right after you. So just make sure you don't knock it out of the park too much. And then Elise will be speaking after me. Elise Bowie. Now she also, hers is to be determined. So it sounds like she's a little bit like I am when it comes to topics. But there's no doubt in my mind that Elise is going to absolutely crush it. She's going to kill it. It's going to be great. Then we're going to have some breakout sessions. We're going to break out again. So we'll break out into 2 rooms like we did last year. And I'm just going to go through and kind of list. And if you want to interrupt me, feel free to, Jimmy. But Alexis Austin, I'm really excited to see her speak. Her topic is using the imposter syndrome to your advantage in the 3 Ps of business, which is pretty exciting. Brooks Derrick, he's going to talk about don't let the person you want to become hate the person you are today, which is, and if you've not listened to his podcast episode, listen to it, because he talks about that a little bit in there. Dina Buchanan, hers is fear. Is it holding you back? So that is one of the blocks. Any thoughts about those?
Those will all be well received. I think all 3 of them are deep thinkers and have that growth mindset, and have brought a lot of energy not only to the guild but also to their firms. And I think that if anyone sits through that's the vision track, that's going to get your mindset right. Certainly after your and my and Elisa's intros, I think people will be sitting in a good spot. So after that, we get to marketing, and you want me to sort of cover the speakers for the marketing block?
Yeah, go for it.
So that'll be this will be sort of up against the vision block. And of course, one of the nice things about the conference is the rooms are relatively close, and you can just bounce if there's one presentation that you want to see more than others. So,
and they're
Seth,
recorded too. That's the other
yeah,
part of it. They're recorded so you can watch them later. Yeah.
yeah. So Seth Price from Blue Shark and Price Benowitz will be doing his sort of state of the SEO as he often does. Nicole Christie, if you guys didn't see Nicole's presentation last year, incidentally, Tyson and Becca were bringing up the idea again of us bringing up issuing the recordings from last year as podcast episodes. So in the weeks to come, on Thursdays and Saturdays, you'll be able to hear some of these presentations. And I would encourage you to pay particular attention to Nicole's. I sat in on her presentation, and it was really she really did a really, really nice job of explaining in a practical sort of hands-on way why niching down is the way to go. And she's going to sort of continue that theme with her new presentation, which is niche your way to notoriety. And then Brendan Ruane, Brendan always does a really nice job of explaining things and breaking things down. He and Jay sort of jumped up on stage and saved the day last year when one of our speakers was unable to attend, and Brendan's going to present on more leads with the same budget, design principles that convert. Brendan did the very first presentation ever in the guild on sort of color selection, and I'm sure he'll do a great. That's all the marketing breakout. So that's Seth Price, Nicole Christie, and Brendan Ruane.
Love it. Very good stuff. Yeah, Brendan's, if you've never seen him speak on color theory, it's so cool. It's such a cool thing. And you got to watch it with the slides. You can't just listen to it because it's really interesting because he messes with your mind a little bit whenever he goes through the slides. It's really, really cool. And then after lunch, we'll have a nice little lunch. Who teases us all the time? Is that Michael Urbina about about we always have Mexican or like the fajitas?
That's me. That's have something
Mexican. I love it. So it's really good. But Regina Edwards is going to talk about, and this is in the team block, so creating a virtual system that runs like clockwork without you. And then we've got Michael Urbina, keep your star players, which I love. I think is great. Billy Tarasio, and stability is a myth. Sort of hiring, training, onboarding is key to scaling. Kind of personality matters. So it's going to be a pretty cool one. I think it's going to be good. And then Adele is going to speak. Her topic is still to be determined.
No, it's determined. She's going to speak on integrating a virtual team with your in-house team.
That's right, which is really because that's something that you have been going through. A lot of us do go through, which is pretty. Yeah, it is Michael. I thought it was you, Michael. So it's interesting because you see like a lot of the smaller firms, they'll start with virtual teams or vice versa, and then you got to integrate the two teams together. So I think that's going to be a great one.
Michael likes to tease us about those fajitas, but I always see him with some
exactly.
Fajitas. It's all good.
Exactly all right.
Good. All right. And then so the other section or the other breakout on stage 2, and again the afternoon breakouts are 4 sessions instead of 3. Our buddy John Ting is going to present on breaking the limiting mindset, marketing fees and delegation. So that's going to be really good stuff. I think people get a lot out of that. Devin Slavinsky is going to talk about charting no man's land. I don't know that I know exactly what that topic was about. So that I'm sure she'll bring it. Steve McClellan's going to talk about the last billable hour, which, I always enjoy whenever anyone talks about killing off the billable hour. I love talking about doing things on a flat fee or contingency fee. And then our friend Ron Payne is going to give us a no BS assessment of core values. So that'll be fun. I think a lot of people sort of struggle with when to do core values, how to do core values. And Ron's going to bring the heat and talk about how you do that without a bunch of bullshit.
I just love it because it's core values, the no BS version, which I think is cool because I think that there is a lot of fluff in the and on the internet about core values and all that kind of stuff. So the vision,
well,
core values are tough. So yeah,
I will say that someone once asked me if they could copy my core values, and I said, yeah, you could, but I certainly wouldn't mind. But I don't think it's going to do you much good.
Yeah, it's kind of meaningless if you do that. So that is what people do, though. They'll take core values, but that's a topic for another day. Hopefully, Ron gets into that. And then after that, we will all get back together, and you and I are going to talk about niching down, which is a really, really hard thing to do, right? Because you're thinking about, getting rid of the money, and you think about the money and that you're going to make less money, and the opposite's true. So you and I are going to talk about that, which I think will be pretty good.
And then our keynote speaker.
Yeah, Jason Selk, relentless solution focus, the ultimate measure of mental toughness. So I cannot stress it enough how I'm very excited about that presentation. So
And
it's going
then,
to be
then we're going to
excellent.
that happy hour. I was shocked at how many people stuck around for the happy hour last year. People really enjoyed it. I know that I was talking to just about everybody out in the ante room. I think that was very well received. So we're going to do that again. And the evening social event, we're going to try, if we can, to do it outside if the weather and the space allows.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have live music out there. It was weird. It was in October though. This year it's in June. Last year we tried to do it outside. We did have it
Oh,
outside, and it was windy
wind and
and
cold.
cold. Yeah, it was, but we shouldn't have that problem in June. So should be pretty good. In June it should be a really good space outside. So pretty excited about that. And then that'll take us into the next day, and you and I are going to start the day by talking about referrals, generating referrals. I think it's going to be a very beneficial topic for people. So we're going to give you some really good advice on how to get some referrals. That some referrals you have to pay for, some of them you won't have to pay for. So pay for, I mean, by injury lawyers having to pay referral fees, but hopefully we'll give you some tips on that. And then after that, Gwen Stewart's going to talk about mindfulness, a lawyer's greatest tool. I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, so she runs the local Shambhala Meditation Center. She's a psychologist who's worked with a lot of lawyers, including yours truly. She's also a Buddhist, so she's gonna, I think, really help set the stage for day 2. I think people get a lot out of her talk.
For sure, for sure. Brett Tremblay, the O1, I think it's OI90 formula. I think is what it is. It's that or the OL90 formula, but I think it's OI90 formula, a massive time hack for lawyers. I think it's a formula he came up with. But I'm excited about that. Brett should be a pretty good speaker. His podcast episode is really good. So I'm excited about that one. And then after that, Matt Spiegel, who we had speak whenever we had it on U City at Delmore Hall, he had a tough time spot, right? It was like in the afternoon,
Right before
on
lunch.
Friday or something.
It's right
Yeah,
before lunch.
yeah. So, well, he had a really tough time slot last time. It was really tough, but he's a really good speaker. And his topic is an actionable plan to formulate and automate your processes. And he started. What's the first one he started? First case management system is case something.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
that? The competitor Clio.
My case.
My case. Yeah, my case sold my case, and then he owns Lawmatics now, and Lawmatics is a really badass piece of software. So if you've not checked it out, check it out. But yeah, and he's also a really good speaker, so I'm really excited about
Yeah, we had him on the show. He was a great interview.
He really was. I remember he was like in a weird room or something. It was definitely a good episode, for sure. But you want to talk about the first breakout?
Yeah, so Andrew LeGrand's going to do a presentation on selecting the right software, which I think, oh my God, if he can figure that out and get everybody to stop talking about that in the big group, it would be well received because there's so much energy talking about, oh, I'm thinking about switching to this, or there, I'm thinking about switching to that. Our buddy Josh Rorscheib is going to speak on how to add 6 figures of value to your practice with the clients you already have. That's the kind of title that gets you intrigued.
That is a title right there, baby. That's clickbait. That's clickbait.
Yep. And then Adam Rosson's going to speak on, this is my favorite title of the event so far. And this came out of the mastermind on the first day for the guild. Adam was sitting right next to me, and this is exactly what came out of it. You're just a highly paid bookkeeper. How I got my ass kicked at the Max Law Guild Day and what I've done about it. So I remember that I made everybody swear that at least once before they left that they would tell him he was just a highly paid bookkeeper. And so everyone wore him out. He wanted to be worn out. He wanted to let go of it. So I'm intrigued for the what I've done about it piece afterwards. That'll be great.
I'm really excited about that too. I had Adam in the mastermind in Arizona, so a lot of fun. Then we have our one of the OG members, Bill Farias. This is going to be a good one. Effectively managing expectations with clients will result in happier clients who will then become raving fans who spread the good word about your firm. Very long title. We'll probably shrink it down a little bit before the conference, but that should be a good one. And then another one of the OG members, Russ Nesevich, the 5 most important factors to closing the sale. I think that's another clickable title, which is going to be pretty good.
Well,
Russ,
and Russ was in sales for so long, more so than actually practicing law, that I think that he's probably fired more salespeople than we've ever had work at our firm. So I think it'll be well received.
it's funny. I was about to say that. So it's gonna be a perfect one for him to do. And then
I just
Kelsey
remember
Bratch.
I don't know if you were in the room when he was presenting, but he kept going like this with his arms, and he was
Yeah,
great. It was a great presentation.
it was very imposing. It was like a
Yeah,
bear. As I think I called him
yeah,
a
I was in the
bear.
back of the room,
Yeah,
and I wanted to back up.
yeah, it was great. And then Kelsey Bratch is going to talk about the ultimate intake machine, which that's pretty cool. I think it's a cool title. It's kind of like the Ultimate Sales Machine book. Great book. It's a misleading title, but I'm sure Kelsey's will be right on point because he's like an intake master.
Yeah, so then we'll have lunch, and we probably won't have fajitas 2 days in a row. So I forget what Becca and we all selected for that. And then our buddy Jordan Ostroff, who really had one of the, the most well-received presentations at last year's conference, will be speaking once again. And he's going to be talking about this escapade that he and his wife and his son have been on all year, where, they're sort of like the nomads, the law firm owning and the law firm marketing owning life that they've built with each other and with their son. And his talk's going to be called "Driven: How I Ran My Companies from the Road Over the Last Year." I mean, like, I think he's going to pull his butt into the conference, like, as part of the road show. So, like, it's almost going to be like we're there along with him, or part of it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear that. It's just so bananas. Like what he's doing is so nuts. I think it's cool. I think it's great. I don't know if I can do it. It would be really really tough. I think it's gonna be fun though.
And then Darcel Lobo is going to present how to run your law firm under 24/5 hours per week. Again, that'll be one that'll be hard to skip. Everyone will want to see that. And then Ty Shepard, our friend from the Guild, will be presenting "Running a Company Isn't Always Fun: Business Lessons from a Corporate Bankruptcy Practice." So Ty does a lot of corporate bankruptcy, and he's going to have a lot of lessons for things that he's seen from the companies that have gone through the system with him or adjacent to him.
Love it. And then what will probably be my favorite block of the day of the entire conference, the numbers block. And Daniel Maxwell is going to talk about how every law firm can find, hire, and train rock star virtual assistants to reduce firm overhead and increase net profit. Brooke Lively of Cathedral Capital is going to talk about from panic to profit, 3 hidden strategies fast growing firms use to increase profit. I think we all like profit. And Tim McKay, um, making decisions with KPIs, which I think is going to be a great one because we talk about KPIs all the time, but what do you do with that data? So it's going to be great. And then after that, we're going to have Filevine speak. Someone from Filevine. I think it's going to be Ryan Anderson, if I remember correctly. Ryan will be. He had, if not the best presentation last year, one of the top 3, I'd say. It was a killer presentation, really, really good. And then you and I are going to wrap it up.
Yeah, that'll be great. We're excited about that. It's going to be a fun conference as per usual. And we hope that people are thinking about coming to St. Louis. If you're in the Guild, you'll be able to go to the mastermind the day before. And in our mastermind track on the day before, I believe we're going to have one track for the integrators or the people in your office who sort of help bring the vision of the owner to fruition, sort of the practical folks, the people that sort of are good at implementing, and following through, which are not necessarily my strong suit. So I'm excited about that as sort of another option for people who either want to bring someone or that are interested in sort of exploring that side of the practice.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We're tinkering with the idea of letting people take the mic at the end of the conference. We shall see about that. And then if anybody has feedback on, yeah, let's do the workshop idea, or nah, I don't like the workshop idea. Let us know. We want to make sure we craft the best experience for everybody. So it should be a lot of fun. But Jimmy, I'll give you the last word, bud.
Well, I mean, obviously we're excited about the conference. It's coming up in June, right at the start of June. It's going to be here before you know it. I mean, today is March 1st. It's sort of hard to believe that we're 1/6 of the way done with 2022. But yeah, we're excited. If you're thinking about coming, I'd ask you to err on the side of coming. I think you won't regret it. And I would even venture to say that if you do come and you feel like you didn't get your money's worth, I would certainly be willing to give you your money back. And so I think that there's really not much to lose. And I think that we'd really love to have you. So thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you found this helpful. We hope we got people excited, and we'll see you around.
See you, buddy.